The stars looked calm from the bridge of the ES Valor, but Commander Raylan Ward knew the truth. Peace was only the silence before the storm. He stood tall, hands behind his back, staring through the glass window that curved around the command deck. Earth glowed below, blue and peaceful. "Sir, the HFY Story." It was hard to believe what was coming. A junior officer approached. "Commander, scout drones have returned," she said. "They've confirmed the signal. It's the Zarn." Raylan turned. "How many?" She hesitated. "Over 3,000 ships, sir. Heavy class, warforms. A full invasion fleet." The bridge fell silent. Officers stopped typing. Technicians froze mid-command. Only the low hum of the ship remained. Raylan didn't flinch. "Alert all stations. Call the council, and get me Dr. Kale from Project Aegis." "Yes, sir." As the officer ran off, Raylan stared at the holographic map. Red markers bloomed across the outer rim of the solar system. The Zarn Dominion had arrived. Hours later, in Earth's Global Command Center, the emergency meeting began. Leaders from across the world appeared as holograms. Some looked calm, most looked afraid. "This is it," said the Prime Director. "We've prepared for this day for decades. Are we ready?" Raylan stepped forward. "Not fully, but we have one advantage." He tapped the table. A new image appeared. A glowing structure buried under Antarctica. "Project Aegis," Raylan said. "Discovered 5 years ago. We believe it's a defense system. Alien, ancient, and still mostly inactive." "Still," one leader shouted. "You've had it for 5 years." "It's not simple tech," Raylan replied. "It responds to something else. Maybe thought, maybe intent. We're only starting to understand it." "Can it help us now?" someone asked. Raylan nodded slowly. "I believe so. But we'll need time. And we need someone to interface with it." "Who?" Raylan didn't hesitate. "Me." Later, back aboard the Valor, Raylan walked to the observation deck. Dr. Kale joined him, holding a data tablet. "We've decoded a few more layers," she said. "The system recognizes brainwaves, especially yours. It reacts to your presence." "Then let's wake it up," Raylan said quietly. Dr. Kale looked worried. "This thing, it's not just a weapon. It's a mind. It remembers things. Old wars. Ancient enemies. Be careful, Raylan. We don't fully understand what you're about to touch." Raylan looked out at the stars. Somewhere in the dark, the Zarn fleet was coming closer every second. "We don't have time to understand," he said. "We just have to win." Far beyond Earth, the stars shifted as the Zarn Dominion fleet glided through space like a living machine. On the bridge of the Zarn flagship Pustora Command, Supreme Admiral Krivox stood tall. His armor pulsed with red veins of light, and his eyes glowed faintly blue, a sign of his enhanced vision. He studied the holographic map in front of him. "Earth," he said slowly, his voice deep and cold. "So fragile, so unprepared." Behind him, his officers bowed in silence. A scout approached. "Admiral, our sensors detected a strange energy surge from the planet's southern pole. It does not match their known technology." Krivox narrowed his eyes. "Show me." A distorted image appeared. Something ancient, glowing faintly under layers of ice and rock. Krivox tilted his head. "What is this?" "We are unsure. It is alien. Old." Krivox turned away. "Irrelevant. Whatever it is, destroy it with the rest." He raised a hand. "Order the Armada. Full assault. No survivors." Back near Earth on the ES Valor, Commander Raylan stood in the war room with his top officers. The room was dim, lit only by the blue glow of the battle map. Red dots, us turret ships were approaching fast. "They'll reach our outer defense line in 48 hours, said Captain Miravos. "We can't outnumber them. Not even close." "We won't win by numbers," Raylan replied. "We win by time. Every second they're held off, Aegis gets closer to activation." Dr. Cattle entered the room, her face tense. "The system is responding more now. We've linked it to the Central Fleet Core. It's still unstable, but I believe Commander Ward can stabilize it." Raylan looked around the table. "We hold the line in orbit. Shield the planet. If the Zarn break through, it's over. His officers nodded. No one spoke, but their faces said everything: fear, duty, and a deep, quiet hope. Later that night, Raylan walked through the corridors of the Valor. He stopped at a viewing window and stared at the stars. Mira Voss joined him, 2 mugs of coffee in her hands. "You always do this before battle," she said, "watching the stars like they're going to speak to you." "They do speak," Raylan replied, taking a mug. "They say survive." Mira smiled faintly. "You really think this alien tech will save us?" Raylan didn't answer right away. "I think it's not about the tech, it's about us. If we can rise together, if we fight like one, maybe Aegis will choose to help. And if it doesn't..." Raylan took a long sip. "Then we go down swinging." At the same moment, far across the solar system, the Zarn fleet began to shift formation. Supreme Admiral Krivox watched Earth grow larger in the distance. "Prepare to strike," he ordered. The alarm rang across the ES Valor. Red lights flashed. Voices echoed through the ship's halls. The Ozarn fleet had arrived. Commander Raylan Ward stood in the center of the command deck, calm, focused. "All ships, battle formation Theta, hold the outer defense line," he said into the comms. "No one breaks rank." Around him, officers moved quickly. Screens filled with data. The enemy fleet was massive. Dark, curved ships shaped like blades. Silent, but deadly. "They're not firing yet," said Mira Voss. "They're studying us," Raylan replied. "Let them look. We'll show them what Earth's made of." Far ahead in space, Earth's defense grid lit up. Hundreds of ships waited. Earth's finest: carriers, cruisers, drone fighters, and orbital cannons. All controlled through an advanced AI system linked to the central fleet core. Raylan watched the live feed. "Activate the AI drones." A swarm of drone ships launched, fast and sharp, like a cloud of hornets. "They're in range," a tech officer shouted. "Fire!" The first volley of missiles and plasma beams lit up space. The battle had begun. On the Zarn flagship, Supreme Admiral Krivox watched the fight unfold. "Primitive weapons," he said, "but coordinated. Impressive." An officer turned to him. "They use machines to fight. We're detecting adaptive targeting and real-time learning." Krivox laughed. "Let them adapt. They still bleed." He raised his hand. "Send the warforms." From the Zarn ships, strange fighters launched. Shifting, living metal constructs. Half machine, half creature. They moved like predators. In orbit, chaos exploded. Zarn warforms tore through Earth's drones. Explosions painted the black of space with fire. Earth's ships fought back, but were pushed hard. Sector 3 losing ground. Someone shouted. "Reinforce with carriers. Bravo 7 and Echo 5. Raylan ordered. One of the defense lines broke. "Commander," Mira called. "They're punching through." Raylan turned to Dr. Kale. "How close is Aegis?" She was pale. "Still unstable. But it's responding faster, like it senses the danger." "Then let's give it more reason," Raylan said. "Prep the interface chamber." "I'm going in." Deep inside the Valor, in a hidden shielded room, the Aegis core waited. It was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. An orb of floating crystal and dark metal, humming softly, glowing with slow pulses of light. Alien symbols spun around it like a clock. Raylan entered. He stood before the core, took a deep breath. "Let's find out what you really are," he said, and stepped forward. The moment his hand touched the interface panel, light surged from the core. The room shook. Raylan's eyes widened as energy raced through him. Not pain, but connection. Images flashed in his mind. A battlefield. Giant machines. Alien skies. Destruction. Then silence. Raylan fell to one knee. Dr. Kale shouted from the other side of the glass. "Commander, can you hear me?" "I'm fine," he gasped. "It showed me something. Old. Terrible." The core glowed brighter now. "It's waking up," Raylan said. and it remembers war. Outside, Earth's fleet was holding, but barely. Fires burned across ships. Drone numbers fell fast. But then, the tide began to shift. The Valor's systems lit up. A new energy flowed into Earth's ships. Shields recharged. Weapons locked faster. Drones moved like they could think. Aegis was connecting. Raylan stood slowly, eyes locked on the glowing core. Let's turn this fight around. The command deck of the ES Valor lit up with new signals. Systems flickered, then stabilized. Shields that had failed suddenly flared back to life. First spec wings cooled, recharged, and began firing faster, more accurately. Across Earth's fleet, officers stared at their screens in disbelief. What just happened? Mira asked. Dr. Kale's voice came through the comms. Pigot, Aegis is online. It's linked to our ships. Every system just got upgraded. Raylan stood in the interface chamber, surrounded by a soft glow. The Aegis core pulsed with light, connected directly to him. His voice was steady but tired. It's not just helping, he said. It's guiding. In space, the tide began to turn. Xarn warforms that had torn through drone swarms now met resistance. Earth's drones adapted mid-flight. They dodged better, hit harder. Larger ships moved in perfect sync, like pieces of a larger mind. Raylan could feel it all, like he was watching through the fleet's eyes. On the Xarn flagship Vytorek, Supreme Admiral Krivox frowned. The battle wasn't going as planned. Our warforms are being countered, his officer reported. Their systems have changed. Krivox stared at the screen. Earth's fleet now glowed with a strange energy, blue lines tracing their hulls, moving like veins. That energy signature, he growled. It's not human. Where did they get this? Another officer looked up. It matches the signal from their southern pole. The alien artifact. Krivox's eyes narrowed. So the old ones left them a gift. He stood and clenched his fist. Destroy it. Now, back on Earth, Doctor. Kale watched Raylan closely. His vitals were stable, but strange patterns were forming across his skin, light marks, like circuitry. Commander, you need to rest, she said. I can't, Raylan replied. Aegis is still waking up. It's showing me things, memories. What kind of memories? Raylan closed his eyes. I saw a galaxy burning. I saw a weapon like Aegis used before. Not to defend, but to wipe out entire fleets. It listens to will, to intention. If we lose control, it won't stop. Kale swallowed hard. Then we need you to stay in control. Raylan nodded. We're not just fighting for Earth now. We're standing in front of something ancient, something watching. Outside, the battle intensified. Aegis-enhanced ships began new maneuvers. One cruiser blinked out of existence and reappeared behind enemy lines, firing before the Xarn could react. Another unleashed a shockwave that disabled 10 warforms at once. The Xarn were fast, but Aegis made Earth's fleet faster. Krivox slammed his hand on the control panel. Enough of this. Send in the core destroyers. Break their line. Huge warships moved forward, armored like mountains, firing red beams of energy. They tore through Earth's outer line. We're losing Sector 5, Mira shouted. Raylan, still linked to Aegis, spoke through the comms. Let them come. He focused. The Aegis core pulsed. 3 Earth ships moved into a triangle formation, glowing bright. Together they formed a single shield, blocking the Xarn beams. Return fire, Raylan said. A single blast shot from the center. Clean, silent. One of the Xarn destroyers vanished. Krivox watched in horror. They have a weapon, he whispered. They've become a weapon. On the Valor, Raylan fell back, breathing heavily. It's working, he said softly. But it's not done yet. Dr. Kale helped him up. Then what is it waiting for? Raylan looked toward the stars. A choice. The stars burned with fire and light. Earth's orbit had become a battlefield. Ships drifted in ruins. Explosions tore through silence. The sky was full of death, but Earth was still standing. Commander Raylan Ward stood on the command deck, pale and exhausted. He was still connected to the Aegis core. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled. "Status report," he asked. Mira Voss scanned her screen. "We've lost 37 ships, but the Zarn are losing more. They're pulling back in some sectors. They're testing us," Raylan said. "They're waiting for us to break." Aegis pulsed through the fleet like a heartbeat. It wasn't just power. It was awareness. It moved with purpose, protecting the fleet, guiding attacks. And it was still growing stronger. Far across the battlefield, the Vossorak hovered like a shadow over Earth. Supreme Admiral Krivox paced his deck, eyes locked on the screen. The humans were not falling. Worse, they were adapting faster than the Zarn could react. "Something's changed," he muttered. "They were weak. Now they're something else. They're linked to the alien construct," his officer said. "It's merged with their fleet." Krivox turned slowly. "Then we don't destroy the ships. We destroy the source." 3 Zarn dreadnoughts broke formation and rushed Earth. They cut a path straight toward the Valor, Earth's flagship, where Aegis was housed. "They're coming for us," Mira shouted. Raylan closed his eyes. He could feel the dreadnoughts, like claws reaching for his mind. Aegis responded with a deep hum, almost like a growl. "Let them come," Raylan said. Aegis lit up. The energy spread across the Valor and into the surrounding ships. Shields thickened. Weapons pulsed with white-blue light. Raylan raised his hand. "Fire!" The surrounding ships released a combined energy burst, pure, focused, and fast. 1 dreadnought exploded instantly. The second was sliced in half by a beam that bent mid-flight. The third turned to retreat, but the Valor blinked through space and reappeared in front of it. Raylan stared at it through the screen. "This is our planet," he said quietly. "You don't belong here." He gave the signal. The third dreadnought shattered into fragments. On the Zarn flagship, Krivox's fury boiled. "They have folded space," he growled. "They've learned to bend it." His officer trembled. "Admiral, we must retreat." Krivox slammed his fist on the console. "No, not until Earth burns." He activated the final weapon. A dark sphere at the heart of the Vossorak, a planet killer. "Charge it," he ordered. "Aim for the surface." On the Valor, alarm screamed. "They're charging a superweapon," Mira shouted. Raylan focused, his vision blurring. Aegis responded. "Target their core," he said. "Prepare the Aegis cannon." Dr. Cowell looked at him from the side screen. "We don't even know what that will do." "We're out of time," Raylan replied. The fleet shifted. Ships moved into formation around the Valor. Energy flowed into a single point. Aegis focused everything it had. The Vossorak finished charging. The dark sphere lit up. Krivox smiled. "This ends now." But before he could fire, the Aegis cannon launched. It was not a beam, not a missile. It was light itself, silent, pure and fast as thought. The sphere shattered. Then the Vossorak was gone. No sound, no explosion, just silence. The Zarn fleet stopped, leaderless, shaken. They began to retreat. One by one, the enemy vanished into deep space. On the Valor, the lights dimmed. Aegis powered down slowly. The glow faded. Raylan collapsed to his knees. "We did it," Mira whispered. "No," Raylan said softly, eyes half closed. "It did it with us." The battlefield was quiet. Earth's orbit, once full of fire and death, drifted in silence. Pieces of wreckage floated slowly. Lights from damaged ships blinked weakly in the dark. But Earth still turned, whole and alive. Inside the ES Valor, the crew moved carefully. Some helped the injured. Others worked to restore systems. Everyone was tired, but they were standing. They had survived. Commander Raylan Ward lay in the medbay, his body weak from the Aegis link. His eyes slowly opened. Dr. Cale stood beside him. "You're awake," she said, her voice soft. "How long was I out?" Raylan asked. 6 hours. You've been stabilized. Aegis shut down after the final blast. It's quiet now." Raylan sat up slowly. And the Yezern? Gone, no ships left in the system. They retreated. Raylan nodded. They saw the end coming. And they ran. A short while later, Raylan walked onto the bridge. The crew stood as he entered, then returned to work. Mira Voss met him at the main console. Still standing, Commander, she said with a tired smile. Barely, he replied. She showed him a screen full of messages. Other colonies are reaching out. The whole solar network saw the battle. Everyone wants to know what happened. Raylan looked at the screen. His voice was quiet. Tell them we stood together, and that we weren't alone. Later, Raylan and Dr. Kale stood in front of the Aegis core. It was dark now, its energy silent, the symbols frozen, like it was asleep. Will it wake again? Raylan asked. Kale shrugged. It's hard to say. It responded to danger. To your mind. Maybe it will only wake when it's needed. Raylan placed his hand gently on the cold surface. It's more than a weapon, he said. It's a memory. A warning. That evening, from a small observatory window, Raylan watched the stars. The sky looked calm again. He held a datapad in his hand full of reports, signals, and unread messages. Then one message blinked to the top. Unknown origin. Deep space transmission. He tapped it open. A voice played through the speakers. Deep, calm, alien. We saw the light. We felt the awakening. We are coming. Raylan stared at the screen, unmoving. Mira entered. Something wrong. He turned to her. No, just the next chapter. He looked out the window once more. The war was over, but something else had begun. Something far beyond Earth.